Hello, friends. I literally put my microphone farther away so I would stop, like, sticking my mouth right up against it and doing plosives all over you. And then I immediately leaned in. I think that's my default, like, computer posture. I just lean in it's not good. Anyway, hi. So it is Sunday morning. I'm fresh out of the shower, hence my obviously damp hair. We're also in between haircuts and dye jobs. For the uninitiated, I have had a significant amount of gray hair since I was about 13, and it has become more significant as I have aged. So, like, I tend to dye it. We're not quite at Silver Fox era Tom yet, so I continue to dye it. But eventually I'll stop doing it, and you'll get to see me with fully gray hair. But for now, it's just like if I lift up the top layer, you can see it's really under there. But yeah. Anyway, long and ambling preamble, as usual. But the reason I have called you here today is that I thought we could have a chat, first of all, because we haven't chatted in a bit. We haven't had a chatty video in a while. And second of all, because I can't get it off the desk now. I received my Dan and Phil photo cards. So if you're not aware, Dan and Phil, who, if you don't know who they are, I have 2 videos on the subject, but they're doing a thing where they've released some photo cards, which essentially you buy them, you receive them, that's how it works. And yeah, it's a random batch of 5 cards. Don't know what they are, so I'm going to open them. We'll see which ones I get. There are rare ones, which I doubt I will receive, but still, I'm looking forward to seeing what I get. Okay, so today we're going to chat. We're going to look at the photo cards. If you're not up for the chat and you're just all about the cards, feel free to skip ahead. Otherwise, let's have I got my tea. I've drunk so much of it that I can't really tip it to show you. The green is matcha. I have my matcha. It's a sunny morning for now. It's supposed to rain. And yeah, we're just gonna hang out and chat. How's that sound? Yeah, okay. All right, so things and stuff of late. So first of all, this week I have been feeling a bit rough. And there are multiple possibilities for why that is, which I'll get into later. But, like, I've not been feeling my best. I received these a few days ago, but I just was not feeling up to, like, doing anything with that or making any kind of video. I've been doing a lot of, like, okay. So this is jumping ahead, but one of the reasons why perhaps is that, so I had been trying to do some form of, like, going out for a walk, getting some exercise, stuff like that, because, you know, health. But I have been writing recently, which is good. I have not been able to write pretty much anything, and definitely no fiction, for about a year now, which is fun. There are some reasons for that, which I've gotten into in other videos. But in any case, so, like, I keep trying to go back to my fiction stuff and being like, okay, I'm literally almost at the end of 2 different books that I'm working on, 2 different novels, and I just cannot friggin' finish them. So I keep going back to them and just, like, getting frustrated. So I was like, let's try something different. And maybe if I can kind of get back into the writing mood, then I can shift that over into writing fiction as well. So I've been working on a nonfiction project, which has been really fun, and I've really been enjoying it. And if I manage to finish it, I feel like it's going to be something really awesome, and I really hope that happens. But because I am the kind of person who gets basically, I go into, like, hyperfixation mode and forget to go to the bathroom, forget to eat, or it's not so much forget as, like, note and ignore. It's like, oh, I've had to go to the bathroom for about 3 hours. That's fine. Oh, I should probably eat something in a minute. Let me finish this page. So that has been me for the last, like, week and a half, 2 weeks. And I've also been like, okay, so one of my problems is that I have an issue with emotional eating and overeating. So if I'm bored or if I'm depressed, I just eat constantly. It's not good. It's not healthy. And I don't feel good in my body when that happens. So I'm like, this is a good opportunity. I am so hyperfixated on my current writing project that I'm forgetting to eat anyway. So why don't we just use this as an opportunity to reduce the amount of food that I'm eating per day and like just have like my meal and then my other meal and then, there's 3 meals. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, not really much in the way of snacking, my cup of matcha, and that's it. So my body is like, what the fuck are you doing? It has not been reacting positively to that change, and also probably not to the fact that I have spent like literally all day, every day writing and doing research and not really getting outside. And part of the reason that I haven't been getting outside is that the weather has been bizarre. Like we've been having very much like ups and downs and, oh, it's 30 degrees and, oh, it's 70 degrees, it's raining, it's cold, it's not cold. So I think I'm just confused. I think my body is just confused on many levels. And so its response is, you're going to have no energy, you're going to feel like crap, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. I also don't get much sleep anyway because, as previously mentioned, Darla wakes me up at about 3:45 or 4 o'clock in the morning every single morning. And yeah, so if I don't go to bed right at 8 o'clock, which I never do, I'm going to be tired the next day. So I'm constantly sleep deprived. And yeah, so, but that's another, this is not intended to just be me ranting about stuff. How did I get here? Why did I start talking about this? Okay, it was just, I was talking about how I've been feeling rough this week. And that's why. All of those things are the reason why. So, yeah. So today, knock on wood, feeling a little bit better. I'm going to start like, I don't want to segue back into like the unhealthy emotional overeating, but it feels like my body requires a bit more food than I have been giving it. So let's do that. So that was number 1, not feeling great. Topic number 2, gas leak. Not exactly. That's a clickbait title maybe. But okay, so here's the situation. So a few weeks ago, I started to notice a strange smell coming from my gas stove. And when you own a gas stove, if you are, anxious like I am, yeah, this concerned me. So I reached out to my landlord. I was like, hey, my gas stove is producing a smell. And this concerns me because it's a gas stove. So I marked it as urgent because like it didn't smell like gas and the pilot lights were still lit, but it was similar enough to like being gas adjacent that I felt like this should be taken care of. So I marked it as urgent. I'm like, okay, the last time I marked something as urgent, which was when my toilet was exploding, not really, but it was having issues, they came over that day. So okay, urgent, yes. Days go by. A week goes by. Nothing. I'm sending emails. I'm like, hey, could you come check out my stove? I'm not using the stove. I was cooking pasta in my rice cooker. I had the window open constantly. There's 2 carbon monoxide detectors in that room. So like, at least I knew like it's safe to breathe, but still I felt really weird about it. So finally, I get a call from the admin at my landlord and they're like, hey, so here's the number of the maintenance guy. Give him a call. And so here's the thing about me. I can be like a perfectly functional member of society sometimes, often, maybe even often. But there are days when the neurodivergence in my brain is just like, no, you're not going to be able to do anything. You are blocked from being a functional member of society. And that was one of those days. So when she said, so I had been expecting her to call me and be like, hey, so I talked to the maintenance guy. I told him, I conveyed your message to him because I had reached out to her. I told him that he should go to your place. So you're all set. So yay. But no, she was like, you told me your issue, so now I'm now giving you the phone number of the maintenance guy. You call him and tell him. And my brain just shut the fuck down. Like, it was like, but call? Phone call? But what do I say? How do I explain? How do I do this without sounding like, do your job, get to my house, do it now? So my brain just went bzzzt. And I had this long silence over the phone. And then I just kind of stammered out like, what should I say? And she understandably had no idea what it's like. You're an adult person who has been living in, apartments on your own as an adult for many years. Why do you not know what to say? I didn't, and it didn't go well. That phone call, and like the longer that the phone call stretched, and I did eventually end up confessing to her, like, look, I have social anxiety. If I have warning before a phone call, I can write out what I need to say, but like just having it come out of nowhere, So basically, she ended up reaching out to the maintenance guy, but like I felt not good about it. Like I started feeling that shame, which you don't want to feel, because I can't help it that I am this way, and I'm doing my best. And a lot of the time I can manage to make phone calls and talk to people and go outside and do all the things that you need to do to be part of society. But some days my brain just says no, and that was one of those days. But yeah, like as she was talking to me, she started adding the word "sir" at the end of every sentence, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've made this poor woman have just the worst customer service experience ever," and she's mad at me, and like, yeah. But she did call me back later and like was quite kind about it, and saying that she had reached out, Darla's meowing, that she had reached out to the guy and he was gonna get back to me and blah 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 blah. But long story short, eventually they were like, well, we can't actually call the gas company for you anyway, so why don't you just call the gas company and see if they can send someone out? And I'm like, this information would have been great to have a week ago when I first contacted you about this. So this was on a Friday. I didn't think this was going to turn into such a long story. People who want the photo cards are like, come on, you can skip. So this happened on a Friday, and the reason why I was trying to get in contact with them that day was because like I don't want to have to wait until Monday with my possibly carbon monoxide producing explosive gas leak stove. So if he could come by today, that would be awesome. But she's like, okay, you have to call the gas company. So I'm looking up the gas company online. I find the number and I call the number, and they're like, we're closed until Monday. And they did have an emergency line, but I didn't really want to call the emergency line because it's not an emergency. It's been a week. I'm not dead. Nothing has exploded. The pilot lights are lit. It's probably fine. So I didn't. So on Monday morning, I called them, and I had to like wait on hold. I'm waiting. Finally, I get connected to somebody. I tell them my whole situation, blah, 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 blah. They're like, okay, we can send someone. What's your address? I give him my address. He's like, I can't find it in the computer. What do you mean? All right, so I spelled it out to him. We went back and forth, and then finally there's this long pause, and he goes, what city are you located in? And I'm like, Chicago. And he's like, this is Florida. This is the Florida. I mean, he gave the name of the city. I can't remember. I think Tampa. He's like, this is the Tampa branch, and we're not connected to the Chicago branch. So you're going to need to call that. So it's been like an hour by now that I've wasted calling Tampa to get my gas stove sorted out. So anyway, I looked up the Chicago number and I called them, and I could not get through to anyone because it was Monday morning and everyone was calling with their thing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm calling the emergency line. So I called the emergency line and I said, look, my gas stove is producing a smell. It's not gas, but it's gas adjacent, and I need someone to come check it out. And so they were like, understood, 100%, we'll send someone over. You need to immediately evacuate the building and stand 100 feet away until they get there. And tell everyone else in the building that they also need to evacuate and stand across the street. And I'm like, okay, it's Monday morning. I'm working. And also, I think it's fine. So I'm not going to do that, but thank you. So yeah, I disobeyed them, and I was so afraid that like when the worker arrived, they were going to be like, why are you not outside standing 100 feet away? But I went down and I let him in, and he was just like, hey, what's up? He was a really cool guy. So yeah, he came in, he checked out my stove. He said, I definitely smell what you're talking about. There is a smell. But he could not detect any kind of gas leak. He ended up like going and shutting off the gas and turning it back on and doing all these different things. He said, you know what, probably you should get like the nozzle cleaned and all this stuff, and get it a really thorough professional cleaning. Ask your landlord to do that. And I was like, okay, thanks a lot. Not gonna explode. Good news. He left, and I emailed my landlord being like, hey, this is what he said. They said put in a work order, so I did. I was like, hey, the gas guy said that probably it needs to be cleaned and that I should ask you guys to do that, fearing that they're going to come back and be like, well, actually, we're not going to do that, so you better clean it yourself. And then there probably would be an explosion. But as it happened, when the maintenance guy reached out to me, it was not to say, hey, I'm coming over to clean your stove. It was to say, hey, we're getting you a brand new stove. Yay! So I am now in possession of a brand new gas stove with an electric starter, which means there's no pilot lights at all and less chance of there being like, you know, weird things happening. It does mean that it's very easy for the gas to be turned on and not realize it, which is terrifying. So I got like the child-proof things to put over it, to put over the knobs, because Darla loves to jump up on the stove, as one does. One time in my old apartment, she did legitimately jump onto the stove, either her or Benny, and kicked the knob and turned the flame on, fully on. Luckily, I was standing right there, but that was the first time that I bought knobs for my gas stove. Anyway, knobs. Yeah, so happy ending. There's no longer bad smell. I have a brand new stove. Nothing exploded. I didn't have to talk to someone on the phone without planning. And yeah, I called Tampa. Okay, so I think that's basically the end of my my conversational topics for this chatting session. So now we'll move on to the photo cards. Okay, so you can see they come in a lovely plastic container. It says Dan and Phil official photo card season 2, 55 cards to collect! Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. Okay, so these are unopened, as you can see. So we're gonna crack into them. So exciting, very exciting. Yeah, it is Darla. Whoop. I'm not wearing socks, so I'm afraid Darla's gonna lick my toes, which always scares the shit out of me, as you would imagine. All right, we have done it. We've broken ground. It's open. Oh my God. Okay, what are we gonna get? Let's find out. All right, the first card is... Oh, it's a shiny one. So full disclosure, I have never collected Pokemon cards or any kind of cards, so I don't know the proper name for these things. I know there's shinies and like, but I mean, that's shiny, isn't it? We'll see how the other cards are. But okay, first one, we've got we've got them looking very well. Dan looks a bit sultry. Phil just looks kind of surprised, kind of startled. All good. Okay, next one. Okay, never mind. They all have the rainbow backs on them, but I think the background, like, okay, it's probably not a special card. All right. Oh, all right. We've got Dan. Got Dan looking cute. Nice. Okay, next. We've got, oh, okay. We've got Phil doing a meerkat pose. Just, you know, guarding his rock, as one does. Wearing the capybara shirt. Capybara, capybara, capybara. Okay, next. We've got 2 left. What are we going to find? Ah! I'm so glad. I like this one. Okay, so we've got Dan in wearing color in the Everyday Sunshine shirt. I love this shirt. Like, I would purchase and wear this shirt. Poor Dan, who very much enjoys the color black and not any other colors, wearing a bright yellow tee. It's not tee, a bright yellow shirt. Okay, the final card. What could it be? It's not going to be a rare one, but let's see what it is. Oh, okay, it's another Dan doing an angry muscle pose. Are there wires? What's this? What are these wires coming out of the side there? Or is that part of his shirt? That's part of his shirt, I think. I don't know. I like that shirt though, the black like football-ish tee with the pink star on it. Anyway, okay, so this is my card haul. We've got Dan and Phil. We've got Dan. We've got Phil. We've got Dan again and Dan again. Now, obviously, I love both Dan and Phil. But if I had to say in terms of which one I am more likely to stare at during a video, it's usually Dan. So I'm pleased with my haul. They're both lovely. They're both lovely people, and I'm happy to support them and also have these fun little photo cards. So, yay! All right, so now to conclude this chatty and photocardy video. Cardi is totally a word. What's going on with you folks? What are you up to? What have you been doing? Tell me about the recent happenings of your life in the comments. I always love reading your comments, love to hear what's going on with you, so please share. Also, if you are someone who has gotten yourself a pack of Dan and Phil photo cards, which ones did you get? Are you happy with your haul? Somebody commented on their TikTok or their Instagram saying they'd ordered like 10 packs. Each one is $10, and that's not including shipping. What are you doing? Where's this disposable income coming from? I mean, I guess some people have. Anyway, so yes, if you got some, let me know which ones you got or which ones you're hoping to get. And yeah, tell me what's up in your lives. And yes, okay. All right, now I will bless you with a little bit of Darla. So there she is, hanging out on the couch. What's up, Darla? And I just dropped the cards. Phil, no! He's fine, he's good. He fell off a cliff. He's fine. All right, well, that's it for me for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Huge thanks, as always, to our patrons who are amazing, wonderful, fantastic. And a special shout out to our Nick Nelson members, Paul Z, Kim Engel, Angela Mondragon, Tanya, Kent Smither, and Vrodo. All right, that's it for me. Have a great rest of your day or night or whatever time of day it may happen to be. I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye.